Good evening. It's March 16th, 2025, Sunday. It's my pleasure and honor to be in Studio 6A with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, a World War II hero.
World War II hero.
Yeah. The greatest generation ever lived and extremely humble. There's less than 6,000 of these World War II combat fighters left, and we're losing them at a rate of 150 soldiers per day. So here's your chance. Here's your chance. Ask Mr. Jeckovich any questions that you like. His mind is like a library. He's done many things in his life. He wrote a beautiful 849-page book about life from 11 years old to present, his retirement. And it's just a life lessons for other people to pick up on and maybe make their life a little easier. It's not about money, I assure you that. How much did you make off that book?
Nothing.
Never for sale. No, it was a labor of love. And so all this book is like 480 podcasts out there, mostly on YouTube. It starts from the beginning and takes you to the end. Started taking care of his mother at age 11 when his father, Marion Jeckovich, died. He worked as a slave. He came to Ellis Island, and he worked 3 or 4 different jobs just to give his family a better life. Didn't turn out well. At the age of 43, he died of a massive heart attack while working in the cement. And that was when Mr. Jeckovich stepped in, and he started taking care of his mother from 11 years old to when she passed away at the age of 89. What's the passcode, Mr. Jeckovich?
42965.
All right, that opens up the laptop, and we'll briefly read a few because we have a lot of text messages waiting. Chapter 3, you're in the Army now. So this is like the second day Mr. Jeckovich is in the Army. They're giving him his clothes, giving him his haircut, giving him his shots. And Mr. Jeckovich didn't enlist. Why?
Well, I wanted to my brother as long as I could.
Exactly. His brothers enlisted, and one of his brothers that enlisted never went to the war. He stayed in the United States.
Stayed in Coast Guard.
And the one brother stayed in the United States teaching people how to drive Jeeps. If you enlist, you can get a lot of better position. However, if you get drafted, you're almost guaranteed to go to the front line, to go to combat. That's just the way it is. So Mr. Jeckovich decided, I'm going to wait till the draft comes in, spend more time taking care of my mother. But the trade-off was he got a horrible position on the front line. And by being on the front line, he was beat up, stabbed, shot by a sniper, bombed, shrapnel, still
Lost a hip.
Lost a hip, and trench foot and frostbite.
I still got this stupid frostbite
You're
tonight.
still suffering from frostbite now?
Yeah, right now.
80 years later. We learned a lot of things from World War II. The list is long. But one of the ones we learned is Mr. Jeckovich was in the Battle of the Bulge and the Ardennes Forest, which was the bloodiest battle, the coldest winter in hundreds of years, 30, 40 below wind chill factor, and you didn't have the proper clothing, did you?
No.
So many people died of frostbite. Many lost nose, fingers, legs, toes. Mr. Jeckovich was lucky he didn't. But what we learned from the frostbite, if you folks are out skiing someplace in the United States and it gets bitterly cold, you simply make a snowball and rub it on that area. That will get the blood circulating again. Many people make the terminal mistake by running into the clubhouse by the log fire. That'll work the opposite way. You want to get the blood circulating again. Rub a snowball on that area, and it should be fine in most cases. But anyways, we're on chapter 3. It's you're in the Army now, and page 29. Shipping orders and assignments were usually posted on the barracks bulletin board, which turned into a ritual for everyone concerned. Finally, at the end of the 6th day, our shipping orders was posted on the bulletin board. As I scanned the order with about 50 or 60 names on it, I did not see my name among those listed. I immediately thought the worst. What did you think? You're going to Pacific?
Yeah, I thought I was going to go to the Pacific, yeah.
Did you want to go to Pacific?
No.
Why?
Why? It's hell over there.
Yes, it is. In fact, interesting story, the Pacific didn't end in a timely fashion. The European theater ended first. Many months later, after the atom bomb, the Pacific Wars ended. The Pacific Theater of Operations. But it's ironic, all the way up to 1975, some of the Japanese still thought they were fighting World War II. They were holding out in tunnels and in jungles, and many of them still thought they were fighting World War II in 1965.
They stayed here, they got families and everything.
Okay, I did not see my name among the listed, and I immediately thought the worst. So you thought you were going to go to the Pacific, which you probably wouldn't have been here today. They were waiting to ship me out to some dark post in the deep south or the North Pole. Would you want to go to the North Pole?
But
You said they might ship you out to the North Pole. Did you want to go to the...
no, what the hell is the North Pole?
But a lot of guys went to the North Pole.
Oh, yeah. Well, they had a base up there, yeah.
Yeah. The next morning, those people on the first shipping list were preparing to leave right after breakfast. We later found out their destination was somewhere in the state of Mississippi. Now, that wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah, well, that was just a jumping off spot.
Yeah, but at least you're still in the States. After breakfast, and since there was nothing on schedule for us this morning, I decided to ship my civilian clothes back home, along with a letter to tell my mother and sister my experiences to this day. I did not include the money belt in the package. I finally disposed of it in a rather oblique manner. How'd you dispose of your money belt? You said you disposed
I put it in a box and put it in the I put it in the trunk or something. My foot locker.
When you sent that letter and those clothing home on the 6 days, was that mail still being censored or not yet?
What?
During the World War II, all mail was being censored when you sent home, right?
Oh, yeah.
During the 6th day of being in the Army, was that mail censored?
Oh, yeah.
Even the 6th day?
Yeah.
And those were called V-mails.
V-mail, yeah.
Where is your V-mails?
What?
Where are your V-mails?
Oh, yeah. I had 150 V-mails. Who did it? Salad threw them away. Burned them up or some stupid thing.
That's a mortal sin. That's a mortal sin.
A lot of history there.
Returning from the post office, I knew there was a new shipping list on a bulletin board. It was the same length on the previous one, about 40 or 50 names on it. And again, my name was not on it. So at this time, you're pretty well assured you're to go to the Pacific, you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
They're waiting to get you last. Yeah, it's a lot of traveling to get to the Pacific besides. Uh-huh. The following morning, the men on the last shipping order were preparing to leave for their new assignment. As before, we were told later that this group was shipped to the state of California. So what happens when you get shipped to California?
You go over, you go to Europe, you don't go to Europe. You go
to Pacific Theater of Operations.
Yeah.
You're pretty well screwed.
Yeah.
As before, we were told later that this group was being shipped to the state of California, and told later that this group was being shipped to the state of California, and there's a strong possibility they would eventually wind up in the Pacific Theater of Operations. I did not relish this group's eventually, as I did not care for the Pacific at all. At this point, there were the most 15 men left in my barracks, out of the possible 150 to 175 when we first arrived. The same was true for the other two barracks which made up of our company. As we talked about our fortune or misfortune at the tail end of shipping out, one person reiterated that the Army saved the best for last.
Yeah.
Yeah, sense of humor, that was cool. Sense of humor. That evening, the last and final shipping orders were posted, and it encompassed all of our remaining names. As I looked once again at the order, I noticed something that I had not seen in the previous list. After my name and all the others, the shipping order were several letters. The letters following my name were T and X, and the others had the letter A. Also at the bottom of the order was a single closing sentence. Shipping to delayed until further notification. All of us were completely mystified as to what it meant. So you couldn't ask what it meant, no one would answer you.
They won't tell you, they won't tell you now.
They won't tell you nothing.
Yeah.
The next morning, while still in formation from Reveille, we were told to report to the post theater at 900 hours for an informational meeting, at which time relative questions were being answered regarding our placement. I did not know what to expect, but the only thing I was positive was that my instinct told me that the remaining group, which was part of, that had the look of A students, referring to the back to my junior high school days. At the informational meeting, we were told that we were part of a larger group forming up, waiting for a shipment to the Army Air Corps base for further training. Also, in regard to the letters subsequent to our name, they designated our training clarification. Hence, T stood for pilot, light heavy bombers, and X related to bombardier, light heavy bombers, and A to navigator, light heavy bombers. Therefore, my classification was pilot bombardier in the bomber segment of the Air Corps. I was bewildered as well as excited at the news. We were also told that we would have various company duties temporarily while waiting for shipment. So how long did you wait before you got shipped out?
2 weeks.
That wasn't bad, so you're still in Long Island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long Island's cold.
Yeah, well, it's still better than Russian front. As we marched back from the post theater, I kept thinking that this was my first real break I've ever received in my life, outside the job offer at the department store. I was thrilled as well as apprehensive. What if I did not measure up to what was expected of me? I immediately put those thoughts out of my mind, and I would do the best of my ability, and I would succeed. That night after retreat, they were posted our company's duties while waiting for assignments. We were quartered into 2 barracks at the rear area of the logistical purposes, as well as isolation from the ongoing movement of inductees at the camp during their indoctrination and processing period. I also learned that my company duties would entail tending to 6 of the barracks coal-fired furnaces. Well, you're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Because you already did it all your life. Needless to say, I was happy with that order. The next morning, I was shown in detail my new duties and what responsibilities were. It was like being home once again. The furnaces
16 minutes.
The furnaces were familiar with the exception that they were burning soft coal and thereby ashes to dispose of, more ashes to dispose of. It was relatively an easy assignment and entailed a minimum of time and effort. It was at least 6 weeks, and I likened it to a civilian job with the exception that I could not go home at night. I felt at home tending to the rare furnaces, and it also afforded me much more time to roam about the camp area. I did not have to fall out for reveille or retreat, which meant I could sleep later in the morning and did not have to be in the immediate area to stand retreat. I did not make many friends while at camp since it was such a transient type environment. People were coming and going constantly into our barracks, ASTP, Army Specialized Training Program. People, Air Corps personnel, Signal Medical, and Ordnance people. Though their numbers were fewer than the larger contingent of the Air Corps people, they were constantly being shipped out and new recruits were taking their place. I had time to write home regularly and often wondered what was transpiring there. I pictured Mother struggling with the furnace and the ashes, and I would lie in my bunk at night just visualizing in my mind what I would be doing at this particular time when I was home. I was not homesick as such, but still felt if I deserted my mother and sister, and at that time of need, I had no control over my destiny at this time, no matter what my feelings were towards my sense of duty at home. At times I would think that my brothers were feeling at times I would think what my brothers were feeling at this particular time. I would hazard a guess that they had no feelings of guilt or computation about leaving home. Do you want to read some text messages?
Yeah,
Or you want me
yeah.
to keep reading?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right, give me a minute. By the way, Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, and he's knocking on the door of 100. This 2025, Mr. Jeckovich will be 100 years old. The doors are knocking.
Yeah.
The doors are knocking. Okay, got a few text messages. You feel up to it?
Go ahead.
Do you stay in contact with your fellow soldiers after the war?
No.
What do you remember about D-Day?
D-Day? I was skating on it quick, real quick, Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And my mother, I got home for lunch. My mother said, I think you're going to be leaving us.
Yeah, you did. Where were you stationed during the war?
Where was I stationed in the war?
Yeah.
I was stationed in Haverford West, England.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you believe the lessons of World War II are still relevant today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, what is the most important thing you want people to remember about your generation?
About my generation. They were in tough times and they did the best they could. Most of them. A lot of them were just shirkers. They didn't want to do nothing.
Right.
But the majority of people were good.
Good, straight people. Mr. Jeckovich, where were you when Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, took place?
I was out Sunday afternoon. I was skating at Joe Quick.
Okay. And your mother came over and said there's going to be trouble?
No, I came in for lunch. She told me.
Uh-huh. Mr. Jeckovich, your father died when he was 43 years old, correct?
Yeah.
Your mother was still young. Did she remarry?
No.
Did your mother have a boyfriend?
No.
What would you think if your mother married someone and brought another guy into the house? How would you
I probably couldn't adjust.
Couldn't adjust. That's why a lot of these ladies, I always thought ladies were smart. They probably were, but a lot of these ladies are bringing home these guys as boyfriends or getting married, and they have their children at home. Worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
Those guys don't give a shit about your kids. Google it. Google it. I'm sure you get a few that are decent, but just Google it. You'll see all types of egregious activity takes place.
Yeah.
Horrible things, horrible things. So ladies, don't bring home any of these guys. Wait till your kids are gone. Wait till your kids are gone out of the household. And then if you still want to do it, do it. But these kids generally hate the situation of a lady bringing home a guy, because that guy does not have your children's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
He does not care. They are a burden to him. They are a burden to him. So if you bring home a boyfriend to live, a concubine, or a so-called husband, and you have children at home, you're doing a great, great disservice to your children, correct? Would you agree?
Just under 10.
Okay. Well, that was good news that your mother stayed honorable to the day she died, and she didn't bring home another guy, because it wouldn't have worked out well.
Yeah.
Would not.
I know my mother wouldn't do that.
I know, she's an
No, she
honorable
wouldn't do
person,
that, no.
but it happens every day now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Every day now. It's disgusting. It's bad business. It's just so sad. Google it, you see all the problems, all the crimes are committed against these little kids. Ah, boy. Mr. Jeckovich, you're knocking on the door of 100. You said the other day that you blinked your eye at 20 and you're 100.
Do what?
You said the other day you blinked your eyes at 20 and you're 100. Did it go
yeah.
by that fast? Mr. Jeckovich, is it hard getting old?
No, you just adjust it and just think about those things. You don't forget about getting old.
You just
You don't think about it.
don't think about it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, by the way, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. By the way, Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. When him and several other teenagers, right out of high school, some didn't graduate high school, went into World War II, they went in with great pride. Great pride. There was no situations where they didn't want to go. They all wanted to go. And Mr. Jeckovich was, and all the rest of the teenagers, they were affectionately called their division the
33, there was 33.
yeah, the 33 is a code name for teenagers being in the military. They're the best fighters in combat. But his division was affectionately called, because being teenagers, of the Diaper Division. But later, as years went by, they were no more affectionately called the Diaper Division, because they fought in some bloody wars. And in the Battle of Bulge during Bastogne, 97% casualty. Now they were all called the Bloody Bastards of Bastogne. That's what they've been called. So things went. All right, let's see. Mr. Jeckovich, what was your role in the military? Combat infantry, pilot, medic.
Combat infantry.
Combat infantry. And by the way, there's only 6,000, less than 6,000 true combat soldiers left from World War II. We're losing them at a rate of 150 a day.
Well, now I'll take that back. When I got straightened out, they put me flying 17s. I was flying 17s.
Okay.
I was flying back and forth. I just land and take off, land and take off, land and take off. And then they figured that they had a lot of these people, and they didn't have, because that was D-Day and they had a lot of casualties, they pulled me off and put me in the infantry.
So that's the only reason why they're short on men.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. They think 18 and 19 is the same as 25 years old, but it's not.
Yeah.
Explain that, how a 25 works out during the war and how an 18 and 19-year-old makes out.
Well, they couldn't keep up.
They couldn't keep up. It sounds hard to believe, but 24s or 25s at that age can't keep up with an 18 or 19-year-old. Just a fact of life. Did you have any fellows in the service that were in their 30s?
Yeah, what?
Did you have any fellows in the service that were...
I had Lake from Lake from Kenmore, and he got sick. He couldn't handle it, and they discharged him.
So if you're in the 30s, you're pretty well shot.
Yeah, yeah. If you're lucky, yeah.
You can't make it in the 30s.
Sometimes they overlook you, and you just go through the whole deal.
But many times in their 30s, you're not a pretty good fighter.
Yeah.
You're not a good fighter. There's been wars 1,000 years ago. There'll be wars 1,000 years from now. You'll never get away from wars. So mothers, don't baby your kids. If you baby your son, and they have to be in war, they won't be street smart. They won't be able to take it. They won't last a day. They won't last a day. Be tough on them. Like Mr. Jeckovich, his family was tough on him, and he was street smart, and with that and his mother's prayers, he was able to make it through World War II. With a lot of injuries, of course, but he's still here to talk about it. He sure is. Mr. Jeckovich, many things have changed with telephones over the last 50 years, but do you remember still using the yellow pages?
On a
A
phone?
phone book?
Oh, yeah. Well, we only had 2 or 3 numbers we knew. We actually didn't need the access to
Do
them.
you remember your home phone number from 80 years ago?
No. 8866.
Yeah, that was your mother's.
Yeah.
285-8866.
Yeah.
Did you get many prank calls? Like they-
No.
Okay, what
From
is
the Miller
this?
family, Billings, Montana.
Wait.
How did you get that?
Wait, hold on a second, let me read this text. Cowboy hat from the Miller family to Mr. John J. Jeckovich. We listen to you nightly, and thank you very much. This is from Billings, Montana.
Oh, put it on.
Billings, Montana, the Miller family. Try it on for the Miller family. Yeah, you look like a damn cowboy. That is nice.
Who was this fellow?
This is from the Miller's family in Billings, Montana.
I look sharp.
They said this cap?
Yeah, wear it to the end of the show. You look very nice.
Yeah.
You look very
Looks
nice.
good.
Let me get a picture of them so I can send it to respond to their text. Respond.
Yeah.
They have a buffalo ranch there. They raise buffaloes, and they want you to come down.
I'm right on my tits.
They have a buffalo ranch there, Mr. Jeckovich.
Huh?
The Miller family own a buffalo ranch in Billings, Montana, and the text says they want you to come down someday and have a beautiful buffalo steak dinner with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They were in Montana?
yeah, Billings, Montana.
Boy.
Let me see how the picture came out, because I need to text them and thank them for a very nice gift. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here.
3 minutes.
Huh?
3.
There you go, Mr. Jeckovich.
Yeah, I'll send out a nice thank you note.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look nice in a cowboy hat. Did you ever work on a farm?
No.
No? Was there any farms near Niagara Falls, New York?
Yeah, but we didn't work on farms.
Did you have a garden at 36?
My mother had a garden in the
What did
backyard.
you have in that garden?
What she have?
Yeah.
She had celery. She had tomatoes. Well, she owned a small garden in the backyard,
Do you
yeah.
remember on the side of your house you grew mint to put in your iced tea?
Yeah.
Mint, was that enjoyable?
Oh, yeah.
Was that a nice drink?
Yeah, well, that is the flavor.
And so how often did you pick the mint from the side of the house?
To grow?
How often did you pick the mint for your iced tea?
Well, we picked them up during the summertime. We didn't in the wintertime. We would drink iced tea in the wintertime.
How were the tomatoes from your mother's garden?
Well, I had them on the roof of this garage.
And how were the celery from your mother's garden?
Good.
Did your mother have a green thumb?
Oh, yeah. She loved potting around her garden, yeah.
1:30.
Did you have a green thumb?
I did?
Yeah.
Up to a point, yeah.
Did you ever raise chickens at your house?
No chickens, no.
I thought you might have had like eggs or something like that.
Well, she bought the eggs at Publix.
Okay, so she didn't raise chickens.
No, the woman across the street raised chickens.
Did you and your brothers ever have a cat or a dog?
No.
Would your mother and father allow a cat and dog in the house?
No.
Never.
Never talked about a cat or a dog.
Never. You had enough taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
You had enough taking care of yourself back then. Mr. Jeckovich, by the way, he was raised during the Great Depression. Were you bothered by the Great Depression?
No, I lived well. Easter time we had brand new clothes. We went on camping trips and that. No, we didn't go out because we would have a shower or nothing, no.
How did you heat your house during the Depression? What was the method?
Holland furnace in the basement.
30 seconds.
And what was it, coal or wood?
It was coal wood to start it, and then you had pea coal. Then you put back pea coal in it. We bought 10 tons of pea coal every summer
They dropped it through the cellar window?
and drop it through the cellar window.
Well, that's interesting. And you were the one in charge of it?
Well, I was the one home.
Seconds?
5.
Wow.
Then I had a pile of wood on the west bank in the cellar.